Welcome to episode 3 of Real Good Friends. Here we go, Pro. We'll get right into it. We got a lot of news to cover about the box office. Let
A
me
lot of
rephrase that.
news.
You have a lot of news to cover. You're the expert here, the actual pro. What we've watched recently, and then a really interesting question that's also relevant to maybe something we've been watching recently. So take it away. It's a genuinely an interesting week of box office and movie news. So
Yeah, it really is. I know last time we did a box office recap, I went top 10 for some reason, but I promise I have that this time. So it's a top five. And they're in fifth place is a new release, Breadwinner, the new Nate. I can never pronounce his last name. Is
Bargatze.
it yeah, whatever it is. Like opened in fifth place, but I think it was about, I didn't get numbers on the fourth and fifth. It was about $7 million, I think. Fourth place holding strong though is Michael still. So still in the top five, doing really well. I can tell you that my theater was where I went this weekend, jumping ahead of ourselves here. It was busy, and everyone I heard was like hearing were talking about Michael. Like they were talking about the movie still. So it is still out there and doing well for was that Lionsgate? I think that's a Lionsgate release. Number three, though, and this is where it gets interesting. Not surprising, but I think the two that are ahead of it are surprising. Third place is last week's champion, The Mandalorian Grogu. Second week fell 70.1% down to $24.4 million this weekend. I didn't note that this was a global. I'm assuming this is just domestic number here, as I think the global is in like a couple hundred million. Domestically, it's at through 2 weeks 136.8 million. So that was including the Memorial Day weekend to now. Number two is a pretty rare feat here. Obsession. Third weekend, 27.4 million. Actually, 105.7 million domestic in its release pattern here, or at least a release time here. Its theater count actually increased. So we got more theaters in its third week, which is, and it's starting to get into some premium large format screens. I know my Cinemark has reduced some of the XD screens for Mandalorian Grogu, and they're giving more to Obsession now. And I think in our number one movie, again, another surprise. I don't think it's a surprise that it is the number one movie, but I'm surprised how well it did, was The Backrooms. $81.4 million this weekend, overperformed estimates by quite a bit. It is the largest opening for A24, held by the previous record was held by Civil War that came out last year, almost tripled that amount. And little tidbit, the director, what is his name? I wrote it down here.
Kane Parsons.
Kane Parsons, thank you.
The YouTuber, yeah.
Yeah, YouTuber. He is now the youngest director to have a number one hit. He is 20 years old. The previous record holder, if you're, was Josh Trank when he did. I think it was Chronicle hit number one. Now is so he was 27. Wow. So a whole 7 years younger. Mr. Parsons is now the youngest with a number one movie.
Wow, good for him. That is such a cool accomplishment. Like this is a random tangent. This is not anything related to the box office report. But so here I am making content for YouTube years ago. When I was 20, my dream was to make content, make movies, short form movies on YouTube to eventually make a blockbuster movie, which is exactly what Kane did. I'm almost 30. It's been almost 10 years of me trying to make that dream happen. He literally did it in half the time.
So it's 20-year-old. He can't even drink. Yeah. He can't even drink that, and he made a blockbuster movie.
He literally, like, there's a little bit of like a personal sting, like, oh man, like, why didn't I do that? Why couldn't I? All the things we tell ourselves, sadly. But I'm trying to push that aside and say, wow, like, what a cool accomplishment. What a great thing for him, especially that what he was doing on YouTube got A24 to come after him for the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like he really earned it. It's such a cool story. I love that. I haven't seen the film, but I think that that's sweet for him.
Yeah, no, it's a big accomplishment for him, and I think that it's really an interesting um, way to go about it, right? Because here's a guy that knows the IP, right? Like
Hmm.
this is his creation, and they entrusted him because usually you don't see that, right? Usually these studios they have these old ways of doing things, and they will sit there and say, oh no, you got to be, you have to have X amount of films under your belt or whatever. We're going to give you a low budget. And I think it was a $10 million budget for Backrooms. It
Wow.
wasn't a large amount, so it's already a profitable film. So I think
Yeah.
the marketing was next to nothing for it too. Which that's a whole nother discussion about movie making and marketing of the films. Like Hollywood has got to get to a point where movies are cheaper to make, like or
Yeah.
somehow. Like I don't know how you do it. I don't know where the costs lie, but it's something that they got to figure out because here you have Obsession and Backrooms, two moderate to low budget horror films that are doing well at the box office. And actually, I didn't write this down in my prep notes. I've I saw so much of a Cinemark stan that I follow them on LinkedIn of all places. Of all the social media platforms, I follow them on LinkedIn, and they put out a
They
press
have a
release today.
LinkedIn.
Yeah, I have LinkedIn. Yeah, yeah, because I'm a professional, man.
No,
Okay, like
Cinemark has a
oh,
LinkedIn.
Cinemark, yeah, Cinemark has a LinkedIn, and it's usually like, "Hey, this is what we're doing." It's more of like not so much the fun interactive stuff.
Yeah,
It's
it's
more
their
like the
business. I
business
understand that.
side,
Yeah.
Um, but they put out a post today, a press release saying that their May this year was their single highest grossing month of all time, which I found really hard to believe.
I thought you were going to
Um,
say since COVID. I thought you were going to say like
no,
since 2020.
ever.
Of all time.
Of all
What?
time. I think it was AMC. They had their highest month since 2019. And a
Wow.
lot of it is tied to Obsession and Backrooms. We had some big, Michael was doing big numbers. Mortal Kombat 2 did okay for a couple weekends. Mando had a good opening weekend. What else was Devil Wears Prada 2? There were some really good films. I think that they might even be able to top it with what's coming out still. I mean, you still have
I agree.
Odyssey, you got Spider Man, you have Toy Story, you have Doomsday, Dune 3. Like, there's a lot of stuff still to come. Big tentpole releases. Um, but yeah, I thought that was an interesting little 1-2. I mean, not that was particularly close, but the fact that Obsession continues to rise up the chart there and actually continue to gain screens the longer it's out. Usually you see the opposite, right? Third, fourth weekend, the top, the fans already saw it. Usually you
Mm.
start getting like 2 to 3
Yeah.
showings, 3, 4 showings per theater, but they're picking up screens, and it's really interesting. I'm not a horror fan. I don't plan on seeing it. Um, but I mean, I'm happy for the studios. I'm happy for the Backrooms team because it's bringing a lot of discussion to movies, right? And
Yeah.
putting people in seats was what I want. I want people to go to the theater.
Yeah, I'm also not a fan of horror, so I probably won't see them. But Backrooms, I'm considering seeing, and I think one of the things that's really interesting about them is like one of the demographics of the region. You alluded to this when you were comparing it to Masters of the Universe, like polar opposite demographics.
Oh yeah, yep.
I have not seen Masters of the Universe, 5 years ago, just because of the time and even 2 years ago, the timing in my life, I would have gone and seen it because I just went and saw every movie. But now, as a busy adult, it's just like, nah, I'm not gonna like my time is so limited. I'm not gonna give it to that, and that's not anything
Right,
against it. But
right.
I think that movie is made like 20 years too late. Like even
Oh
you
yeah,
could say
yeah.
that it's even later than that, but I would say the timing when people were interested in a movie like that, even people who are at a like anyway, it's too late. I don't think people care about that.
No, I agree
But
with you. I think of all the toy IPs and IPs that came out, I think that like it wasn't one. I would think that you would do another Transformers or something
oh
like
yeah,
that. GI Joe. Like
GI Joe, yes.
yeah, who was asking for Masters of the Universe, right? Like, I know there was a Netflix that came out with Kevin Smith did recently. Was that within the last couple of years? Mark
Yeah,
Hamill was
yeah,
Skeletor, I think. And I know it was well received, right? But here's the thing, and this is kind of getting to like, this is a good lead-in point because there's a discussion to be had about backrooms and obsession here with Gen Z, and now we're talking about Gen X on the opposite end. For whatever reason, Masters of the Universe doesn't seem like it's resonating with Gen Z and younger audiences. It's only tracking for 25 to 30 million dollars this weekend, which it's actually forecasted to lose to Scary Movie, which I know we talked about pre-show here, which is crazy to me. A big blockbuster IP like that. Well, what I assumed it was an old, blockbuster
yeah,
IP that has the scope and scale of a big summer blockbuster is going to lose to Scary Movie, which hasn't had a good movie in a long, like probably decades at this point, and it's probably been another decade. I don't remember the last one came out. To be honest with you, I think this is number 7 or 6. I can't remember. 6, 7.
yeah.
But it's really interesting. So this discussion, we'll just jump right into it. So we're talking about Gen X here with their properties. We're finding, I think the data is starting to come out. That generation does not go to the theater
No.
as being like they'll wait till it comes out in streaming, and
Yeah.
it makes sense, right? They're most times they probably have older kids at this point, uh, stay home, more homebodies, but maybe less disposable income with having kids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
With family commitments and how expensive it is to get to a theater. But here you have backrooms, and so I have a couple quotes here from Variety and Deadline. So the Variety quote: a UCLA Gen Z Teens and Screens report found that nearly 80% of its respondents, sometimes, most of the time, or always, watch TV shows and movies on YouTube or TikTok rather than on TV or in theaters. Meanwhile, according to another Gen Z study, they found that 92% of 18 to 25-year-olds trust recommendations from influencers more than traditional advertisements or celebrity endorsements. And then the second quote here just gets further into the demographic breakdowns here. Backroom's biggest demo remains the 18 to 24-year-old category at 43%, followed by the 25 to 34-year-olds at 43%, 25%, and 13 to 17 at 20%. Under 35 is a massive 88% higher than Marty Supreme at 70% and Five Nights at Freddy's 2 at 89%. That doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, I'm just quoting it. 88 is a smaller number than 89.
Yeah.
Deadline. Edit your stuff better. The average age for backrooms is 25.2 years old. So I think people are trying to infer here Gen Z is willing to go to the movies.
Yeah.
They're willing to go to the theater if it's something that interests them. And what interests them. And I think this is a really fascinating time in Hollywood right now, is that you have these legacy stuff like Star Wars. Jumping ahead of ourselves, we're having that discussion about, is Star Wars a dying IP? Does Star Wars resonate with Gen Z? They seem to be the driving force of general audiences anymore. And you have to appeal to these people, right? And I think that is another discussion maybe for another day. I really think there's something to be said about the TikTok and YouTube side of it, where we are all, not just Gen Z, all generations, I feel, are being conditioned to watch short form content more often. And it's reprogramming how we go to the theater and how we interact with the theater and what we think of the theater. I can't tell you every time I go to the movie theater how many times I see somebody who is probably at least 2 decades older than me on their phone. And it used to be the kind of people that were upset with you being on your phone all the time are the ones doing it at the theater. And it upsets me very much. I'm trying not to swear on a family friendly, hopefully monetized podcast, but it's really frustrating, and it ruins the experience for everybody else around you, because that's what the theater is about, right? Theater is about the experience. You're in a dark room, you have the audio track, the projection on the screen. Laugh with the audience, gasp with the audience, cry with the audience. That shared experience is fine, but nobody wants to see your freaking phone that's like on bright where you're melting your retinas. Like turn it off. Sorry, that's a pro rant. I thought that was interesting. What is your takeaway from the demographic discussion?
To me, and this is probably just because of my profession, I work in marketing and I do content creation, but like professionally, I'm a marketer. I think the success of Backrooms comes from their marketing, and I'm not just talking about their ads. I'm not just talking about the unskippable 20-second ad that was on your YouTube video before you watched this one, and it had Mandalorian and Grogu, and it said Mandalorian and Grogu is the #1 movie in the world, or like that dumb. Like as soon as the movie's released, it's been out for literally 3 seconds, so of course it has the highest box office or whatever. Yep. And they give that marketing reel that is the #1 movie in the world. It's not that. Here's what they did: they started way sooner than that. With speaking of Backrooms, and said, what is a topic? What is an IP? What is a thing that people are interested in? If you are on the internet and of that age, you have seen clips or the idea of the Backrooms. That idea is entirely familiar to internet dwellers. Even if you're not a horror fan, you know what the Backrooms is. So the idea that there's a movie,
I don't follow it. Yeah.
So now that there's a movie about it, immediately you're interested. And in addition to that, I also think that generation, from like an anti-culture perspective, is interested in horror and is like choosing to engage in horror and scary topics as like an anti-cultural thing, and as like an individuality, idiosyncratic. You're not a Star Wars fan; you're a fan of the Backrooms, and that's anti-cultural, and so that's significant. And it gives you anyway. So it's like all of those things mixed up in a really profound way, and then you give it to really creative people who are strongly associated to existing content about the topic.
Yep.
And people who are engaging in that are going to go see it. People who are even like I said at the beginning, I'm not a fan of horror. I'm interested in seeing this because even before I heard anything about the box office stuff is only compelling me more. But it's not just, hey, we made a movie and we're going to shove these ads in front of your face and we're going to tell you that other people like it so that you are convinced to go like it. It's the other way around. We took something that you already liked and made a good movie out of it. Now come and see it. Instead of, we made something, let us tell you why you should like it. Rotten Tomato, the amount of times that on an ad you get this, like the VFX,
Rotten Tomatoes score.
Rotten Tomatoes burn you 80%. When it's like, who cares? Absolutely nobody. Like that isn't convincing people to go see the movie. It's just not.
What's interesting?
So much of Hollywood is like programmed on, we're going to make a movie. It's going to make money. It's going to get good scores. And then we're going to tell people to go see it, instead of, we're going to make a movie that people are interested in seeing. Top Gun Maverick is another good example. We made a movie that people were interested in seeing. They came and saw it.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'll get off my
I think, what's interesting. No, it's okay. I think what's interesting, kind of what you're thinking about this. So it said here in the Variety quote, let me see, where is it at? 80% of respondents, sometimes, most of the time, or always watch TV shows on YouTube or TikTok. And then the separate quote, 92% of 18 to 25-year-olds trust recommendations from influencers more than traditional adverts or celebrity endorsements.
Yeah.
And I really think, I've never been a critic person per se. I don't think that critics sway me from going to the movie or not. Like, as evidence, as I saw The Breadwinner this weekend, which, getting ahead of ourselves here, sucked. Okay, I didn't like it at all. You may like it. We'll get into it. But it was critically panned. And I saw the reviews. I was like, ugh. But the person I went with wanted to see it. So I went along because I love going to the movies. And it was a bad time. But anyway, I don't listen to critics. And this seems like this is an indictment of critics. Right. But what's interesting, I do tend to follow Cinescores, and I do follow Rotten Tomatoes verified audience and like Letterboxd reviews from the actual audiences, the general audience. And what was interesting for Backrooms is that it's getting this hype, but it had a B minus Cinescore from the people who saw it that they polled, which is kind of low. I thought like it's almost a C, which is average. For something that's being hyped up and had $80 million box office, I would have thought it would be a little bit higher than that. So
I think it's just
really
that it's interesting. I don't think that like, maybe comparing it to Top Gun Maverick is a different comparison. Like people are interested in going to see Top Gun Maverick because it was a story that they were interested in seeing. Like the emotional,
the pent up demand for a sequel. Right, like there was a sequel that people were wanting for a long time.
Yeah,
this was the same thing that happened to Star Wars Episode 7. Right, people demanded the sequels to the original trilogy, and now they finally got it. No matter if it was good or bad, it was it was the highest weekend ever at the time. People want to see. There's demand for things, but I think that there's too much saturation of sequels a lot of times. But
I think it's that Backrooms is something that people are interested in. Who cares about the score? Like I've seen the Backrooms edits on the internet. I'm interested in what the movie's like, so I'm going to go see the movie. I just think that it's like really smart marketing from the get-go. It's like a huge part of marketing that I think is being missed in particularly just in general, but in movies is that marketing begins in product development, that your marketing begins when you choose what product you're going to try and sell, not just when you have a product and then you try and sell it,
Right.
I think that choosing the Backrooms as an IP and choosing the creative team that they did was a good choice. And here's what I'm saying. I don't even think that it's like, I also think that their marketing of it is that they're choosing to speak to they're choosing to meet their audience where they are at. We're going to talk, we're going to pay influencers. Like, if, as an example, if I'm trying to like make up this scenario that is never going to happen, but it would make a difference. Okay. So this weekend, my wife and I, we were moving. I'm in a new room, if you can't tell. We were moving. And, weekend was busy, but I really wanted to go see The Mandalorian Grogu. I wanted to have watched a movie for the movie podcast that I am on. So it's like, we got to go see The Mandalorian Grogu. I have where is he? I have a Grogu back there. I love the Mandalorian.
Oh, yeah. You showed it last episode. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Like, I love The Mandalorian Grogu. I got to go see it. So I was talking to my wife. It's like, hey, let's go, whatever. Let's make time. And she's like, no, I want to go see the Michael movie. I was like, the Michael movie? Why are you interested in that? She said, oh, so-and-so person told me that it was really good and they really liked it. And so then we didn't see anything. Spoiler, we got busy moving and we just ran out of time. But that conversation would be entirely different if an influencer that my wife follows, which is many, was paid to make an ad about Mandalorian and Grogu and endorse the movie. That conversation, she would have immediately said, oh yeah, so-and-so on Instagram said that they liked it. Let's go see it. Like that is good marketing. You know what I'm saying?
If any influencers want to influence our podcast, feel free.
Yeah, please do. Please say, I watched.
We don't have much money to pay you. We'll pay you in our generosity, like our appreciation.
Yeah, we'll pay you in a smile. But I just think that from a marketing, like the whole marketing pipeline, from a product selection standpoint, from a product development standpoint to a marketing standpoint, both prior to release and during the run, like during the release, like Mandalorian Grogu right now, it's just old fashioned and it's just not reaching people. Sure. And even if it's reaching a demographic, that demographic is worn out. Maybe they, I'm not, clearly they're the ones working in Hollywood and not me, but maybe they're doing their marketing right and they're picking the right products and they're developing it properly and they're getting it in front of the right audience. But that audience that you are choosing to target, it's like you're worn. You can only milk that cow so many times. If you get what I'm saying, like you got to go find a new one. And I don't, no studio's really doing that. And it's kind of,
they're not, A24 kind of is. They're seeing that they're increasing their clout.
Yeah, they're a good example.
More and more. But, because it's kind of interesting, because it's kind of what loops into the next conversation that we had. I wanted to bring up was, I think that times are changing, right? Like Gen Z is getting older. maybe not having disposable income like people like our age and above, right? But like they're choosing to spend their entertainment dollars sometimes at the cinema, and they're going to see what they want to see. And because this was interesting to me, so Disclosure Day comes out next week, the 14th, I think it was, or around that time, and it's early tracking so far is 40 to somewhere in the 40 to 50 million range, which if that holds true, that low end is Backrooms doubled that. And
Yeah.
which to me, if we talked about pre-show, I talked about with Ellen. I said, to me, this is. I was reading the article and I said, "Wow," and she's like, "What?" And I said, "Disclosure Day's tracking for a really low amount, in my opinion." And she said, "Well, why does that matter?" I said, "Well, this is Spielberg. Spielberg was the king of blockbusters. Jaws, E.T., Jurassic Park, and a Minority Report, like all these huge War of the Worlds, these huge movies Spielberg made, and he was like the king of the blockbuster, and he can't beat Backrooms opening weekend with a movie that looks really good. Like it looks good, and it's getting good, positive initial reactions." So maybe it will have good legs and it will do well beyond the opening weekend, because I think the other side of it is Mandalorian. We talked about it, right? 70% drop from week to week, and we see this a lot with these movies where the fans will come out, the fans of the IP will come out first weekend, and then that's it. I think with the MCU before, like the event lead up to Endgame and Infinity War, the general audience outside of us comic book nerds, right? They wanted to see what was next. They had that general crossover with everything else, and Star Wars has done that before too. The sequel trilogy, but I think you were onto something about picking the right IPs and not. I think this is a case that they did not pick the right IP, or maybe they picked the right IP, but it was way too long. Because here's the thing, right? It takes a long time to make movies, couple
Yeah.
years, right? The time to release Mandalorian and Grogu was like 2 years ago when it was hot, like a hot
Mhm.
IP on Disney Plus. Capitalize on that. The first 2 seasons, that was okay. That was your lead into season 3
Yeah.
and 4 was the movie, and now you had a weak season 3. You've had like 2 years off. Nobody cares about it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I hope Disclosure Days is really good. I want to see it, but it's the issue is just that I'm gonna like beat this like a dead horse, and so then I'll move on. I just think that their marketing is really
Old. It's old. It's old fashioned.
it's it's missing the mark. Here's I'm this is might be like more heavy than I want it to be. People are stressed out
Oh yeah, no.
politically,
Yeah.
economically,
Mm-hmm.
mentally,
Mm-hmm.
emotionally. Like people are just on edge. Things are it is not an easy time to live in a capitalist society, supportive or unsupportive of it. Like it's just a challenge, and the majority of people are having to make decisions more scrutinously. Is that a word?
Yes.
Like under
Yes.
more
Yeah.
scrutiny.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Oh, yeah.
telling them to go see a movie because everyone else saw it or because it got an 80% like and when there's already this like sub idea brought into mind that like eventually it will be on streaming, particularly like Disney has really shot themselves in their foot. Like
Oh
everything
yeah.
always ends
Yeah.
up on Disney Plus. It's
Mm-hmm.
like before it was like, oh, maybe it will be on streaming on what platform, who knows, and when. It's like, oh yeah, it will be on Disney Plus. So there's like they've kind of shot themselves in their foot there. But additionally, like they're not connecting with people's interest to be entertained or to seek out media that's compelling or connecting or
Right.
moves
Right.
people or helps them escape. Like I feel like people need a deeper reason to go and spend their money instead of saying,
Oh
hey, you should
no.
spend your money
The
because
best marketing is organic marketing, right? Like
yeah.
word of mouth from your friends and your colleagues, your immediate circle. That is the best kind of marketing for a film. Like, hey, what did you think of Michael, for example? I
Yeah.
really liked it. I gave a good review here. I told a couple other people about it. I don't know if they went and seen it or not. I really enjoyed it. I might even see. I would even consider seeing it again if there were other movies I was interested in. If there was nothing else out, I would see it again. It was that I liked it. It was entertaining,
Yeah.
and that's what that's what we need. We need to get people talking again. And
Yeah.
what does this? I'd be really curious to see what happens with Backrooms, especially. Obsession seems to keep taking off, but I'm really interested to see what happens with Backrooms. If it's kind of like the Mandalorian Grogu, where that initial wave of fans came in, even Mortal Kombat 2 to an extent earlier this month or last month now, May. That fan base came out initially, right? And is this number, this 80 million, what would it be? And again, like another thing too is it has to have a high. I feel like it's a low ceiling type of genre, right? Like horror, you're only going to get a certain subset of the movie going audience. Where like Avengers as peak, Avatar, Doomsday coming out, Dune. No, not Dune. Dune's a little more like not I would say fringe sci-fi. It's not fringe, but it is squarely sci-fi.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean. It's not like
Yeah.
maybe a better example. I can't really think. But anyway, I really don't know where I was going with that. That's just a big ramble.
Well, that's our sign to move on to the next topic.
Yeah, let's move on. Yeah, maybe if it come back to me. The initial fan base comes out to see it. We'll see what happens moving forward. You need that crossover with the general audience. That's where I was finishing up with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think the box office, like I worry about. Well, worry isn't a strong word. I wonder about how well things like Spider-Man and even Doomsday are going to do beyond.
Oh,
you know,
I'm not
like
concerned.
people like you and me who are going to see it, and the other like is Joe Schmo gonna go see it? I don't know. I'm not totally
Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man will be $1 billion movie. I
Really?
think. Yeah.
Wow.
Spider-Man is
Okay.
such a popular character that he
Yeah.
has that general audience crossover. I think
That's
I
true.
think they'll have no problems. I don't know about like movies like Odyssey or Dune. I think they will do really well, but I think that they're kind of being hyped up a little bit. I don't think they're going to have a bad showing, but I don't think it's going to be like $1 billion movies.
Yeah.
I don't
We'll
think
see.
Dune or Dune 2 had made $1 billion, right?
I don't think.
I can't
I'm
remember.
not sure.
But Doomsday, I think Doomsday is doing I think they're doing a really good job with Doomsday by not showing anything. Because you know what? It's only going to drive you more. Like, I want to know what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Is Doom like, and it gets all the people talking, right? It gets the fan base talking. Is Doom just a Tony Stark variant, right? Or is he actually Doom from Latveria that we all know? Where is he from? Is he from the Fantastic Fours universe? Is he from the 616 universe? Where is he from? I have this theory that it went all the way back to there's a timeline where Thanos, where Tony, or what was it? There's a lot of theories going around about it. I don't want to get into all that tonight. That could be a whole nother episode, but it's getting people talking. And the less they show, the more people theorize and talk, and it creates speculation and buzz. And it's organic. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
But,
so moving on to our final news, we'll go through this one quickly so that we can get on to this final question we're going to talk about also could take some time.
It's going to be a doozy. Yeah.
So give us the 30-second rundown on IMAX being sold potentially.
Yeah, TLDR. People are going, when they go to the movie theaters, they're seeing movies in premium large formats. IMAX is the king of premium large formats. $1.2 billion ticket sales in 2025, projected to be $1.4 billion this year, with Odyssey and Dune 3 specifically filmed on IMAX film. The article I was reading was from Variety. They were just kind of throwing out potential buyers, not really anybody concrete. Netflix and AMC were listed as two potential buyers. They were talking about maybe like Sony, like another studio coming in to buy it, or even a company like Live Nation, like entertainment, more live entertainment people, companies. And then, of course, the dreaded private equity, I'll tell you, I'm a lot of things, but if we ever got approached by a private equity firm to invest in our podcast, I'm saying no. I don't care how much money you're giving me. You blood sucking vultures can go find someone else to suck off. You know that. Edit that out, please. That's pretty bad. You can find some other blood and carcass to eat. Okay, that was no, thank you. I don't want any part of it.
Okay, so just to get back to my original question, IMAX
Yeah.
is has IMAX listed themselves for sale? This is real.
No, this is all speculation.
Oh my
Apparently
gosh.
during-
Okay. Whew, I could take
Yeah.
a deep breath. I thought you were saying that IMAX was being sold. I was like, are you kidding me?
No. So
Here's why I have
Mhm.
the most faith in IMAX. Two reasons. One, IMAX started and continues to maintain its roots in documentary filmmaking.
yeah.
Companies that support documentary filmmaking understand that the money and the longevity of your business comes from
Mhm.
more than just the blockbusters. Like
Yeah.
and the second thing is their collaboration with Christopher Nolan. And here's the reason that I will say that. Christopher Nolan, Odyssey is being released by what studio? And same with Oppenheimer.
It's Warner Brothers.
Paramount.
Right? Paramount. Really? I
Because
didn't realize Paramount.
Christopher Nolan had basically a lifelong partnership with Warner Brothers. And then Warner Brothers decided to release movies on HBO Max during COVID. And Christopher Nolan famously said that a lot of filmmakers went to bed thinking they worked for the greatest film studio in the world and woke up working for the worst streaming service in the world. He immediately stopped working with them and is now working with Paramount. And so here's the reason that I bring this up. Or no, sorry. I misspoke. It's not Paramount. He's working with Universal. I apologize. He's working with Universal.
Oh, yeah.
So what does this have to do with IMAX? I think that that Christopher Nolan clearly takes his job seriously, maybe even a little bit too seriously, you might say. He takes what he does extremely serious. And a company who's willing to work with someone who's that serious about their business, serious about their equipment, clearly cares in a way that allows their product to be more than a product, that allows their equipment to have like a value beyond pop culture, if that makes sense. And like, here's me being hoity-toity and assigning higher meanings to things than you really need to. But those things is what makes, at least to me, IMAX feel special. And this is me being.
I think it's scarcity.
Yeah. I think it allows IMAX to feel like IMAX and not IMAX to just feel like
it's a spectacle.
Here's us, like here's us making your movie as expensive and big as possible and putting all the big taglines on it that make you spend more money on it. It feels like here's an IMAX movie. And there's some of that that's kind of been lost in a few years, and I won't go down that trend. But anyway, I'm glad that they're not being actually sold. I was concerned.
Yeah, this is all speculation. Apparently, it's stemmed from like a investors call or a conference back in December.
Okay, well, hopefully it never happens.
I hope it doesn't either, because I think that the two things that they have going for them is scarcity, right? But I think that they want to start expanding. I know Cinemark has agreed to expand IMAX offerings. I know my cinema, my personal Cinemark that I frequent, opened up an IMAX auditorium. So now we have IMAX and their premium large format XD on opposite ends of the movie theater. This is how often I go here. This is a little side tangent. This is how often I go to my theater. I know, based on what number my auditorium is, what side of the parking lot I need to park on. It's a huge parking lot. It's a 24 screen theater. So I know 1 through 12 is on the left side and 13 through 24 is on the right side. And now, thanks to XD, so the XD screen was always number 13. It was on the right side. But now IMAX is number 12. That's on my left side. So now we have it. Are we on the IMAX side or the XD side? And then that determines where we park and then where we come out through. So that's how often I go to my theater. But but the other thing that they're going for it is that they don't have as much skin in the game, right? They don't have to operate concession stands. They don't have to buy physical space because they're licensing their technology to other exhibitors. Like Cinemark, AMC, Regal.
Yeah.
It's so smart. Why deviate from that?
Yeah. You got something working, don't break it.
Yeah, don't break it. Yeah. Don't go to private equity. Please. I beg you. Like, private equity is the worst thing that's going in our society. I'll just say it, and that might be a hot take. I don't know. There's a lot of bad things going on in our society, but private equity is like they come in, they're like locusts, and they just feed on everything and they ruin everything. And I know I was a shill for some corporate sponsorships before, but private equity can take their interest and their funding and shove it personally. So I'm not doing any favors for our brand building here.
Oh no, we are advertiser friendly.
we love capitalism. I love capitalism. I love money.
We love ads. I love ads. I can say that. I work in marketing. I love ads.
I literally go to movie theater, and if I don't catch the previews, I'm upset.
Yeah.
What's more ads than that? Like those are ads. I have literally went to a theater. I have literally went to a movie one time where we were like 15 minutes late, and I asked the ticket taker, "Where is the movie at?" And they're like, "Oh, they're wrapping up previews." I'm like, "Oh, I refunded my tickets. I bought tickets for the next showing, so I can see the previews." Even though they're previews that I've seen on YouTube a million times and other movies that I've seen, I still want to see the previews.
It's an experience.
It's a whole experience.
But, so that can lead us into the next thing, which is, what have you seen recently? I will go first and say absolutely nothing. I was busy moving. My goal that I will probably not achieve is to actually watch a movie by the next time we sit down and talk about movies.
Honestly, at this rate, I usually try to when people come to me and say, "Hey, Andrew," or Pro, I spoiled my first name. It's Andrew, but Pro. I'm not a character, but they'll say, "What should I go see?" And I say, "Well, or if it's two movies that have been out, like what's been out the longest, right? Is it diminishing screens? Michael has been out forever now, but still holding strong, top 5." It's going to have some competition coming up here between Toy Story and stuff that's taking screens away. I don't know if they're necessarily take that from Michael or from like Mando or Mortal Kombat or even like Obsession or Backrooms. But Mando is a good movie. I'm getting ahead of myself. I liked it. Michael too. Like I would recommend Michael to you personally.
Okay.
Or just go do both, man. Go see both.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see what we can do. So I guess that leads us to the big question, right?
Well, what have I seen, Harry? What have I seen?
Oh, I don't need to know. I'm just kidding.
And then our new releases. We gotta go. We gotta go with the new releases.
Everybody, this is what when you get to what is pro scene. Just open up your your theater app of choice. Go to new releases. And just scroll through, and you'll see a list. You don't even have to listen.
I am on Letterboxd, but I don't know if I have enough gusto to give that out. Yeah, okay. Have people follow me and pick me apart for my movie reviews. But I'm on a podcast now, so maybe I should. But no. So I'll give you what I've watched recently. Some brief reviews. What's coming out next weekend coming up here, and then we'll wrap up with our big discussion. And my Godfather fat. You thought I forgot, but I didn't forget. I have my Godfather fat for this week. But I saw Mandalorian Grogu opening weekend because we didn't film last weekend because of Memorial Day holiday. So I saw Mandalorian Grogu. Pretty standard Star Wars stuff. If you liked it, the series, you'll like it. Grogu is so adorable. It's just so. There's a scene in there with him and some. I can't remember their names, but there was one of them in episode 9. He does the repairs to C-3PO.
I love that dude. What's his name?
Yeah, there's a whole cast of them. The Anzalarians, I think there was their species name.
He was one of my favorite characters in episode 9. What was his
They're
name?
also in Mandalorian, the series. They were in the series too. But they're hilarious. That was like probably the best parts of the movie.
Okay,
really good. I had a good time with it. I'd probably give it a 6.5 out of 10 if I was rating it. Just a fun time. If you like Star Wars, you like it. It was a fun time. Let's see what else I saw this weekend. We went and saw Tuner with. We talked about that before. It was on the releases a couple episodes ago that we talked about. Leo Woodall is the lead and Dustin Hoffman. I don't want to go too much into spoilers. Guy, this character has a loud allergy to loud noises. So yeah, but he's blessed with perfect pitch and he tunes pianos really well. And he works with Dustin Hoffman. Something happens with Dustin Hoffman. This guy turns to crime to get him out of the situation. Bad stuff happens along the way. I thought it was really good. A lot more humor than I was expecting. It didn't stay too long. I thought it was pretty well made, well acted. I would give it a 7 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10. Very good movie. And then on the opposite end of it, The Breadwinner, which you kind of alluded to already. Who asked for this movie? Like, nobody makes family comedies anymore. It was very clean cut family movie, like something that you would have saw in the 2000s and late 90s type of deal. Like, who's asking for this stuff? I have no idea. I gave it a 2 out of 10.
Nate Bargatze is.
Yeah, it was such a bore. I didn't laugh one time. Now I went with my dad. He said it was funny. He had some laughs. And the general audience that we were at was very old. It was like what's that movie with all the old people on the cruise ship, Cocoon? It was very much like being in Cocoon, like just surrounded by old people. And it just wasn't a good time. I was bored. I actually fell asleep at one point, and I woke up to Lori from Shark Tank was on the screen, and they're trying to do some stupid thing to get to save the day. It was really boring. I usually advocate to go to the theaters. Don't waste your money. Like, don't see it. Like, don't waste it. Maybe streaming if you're like bored, you need some background noise to make yourself like maybe to put you to sleep. Worked for me. But 2 out of 10. Movies that are coming out this weekend coming up. Masters of the Universe is the big release. Scary Movie, whatever one we're up to now, and one that I'm actually looking forward to. I'm actually seeing 3 movies now this weekend. I just realized this. And I'm seeing tomorrow I'm seeing Pressure. Discount Tuesdays at our local Cinemark, $6.50 for a ticket all day. Elle and I are going to go see Pressure with Brendan Fraser and Andrew Scott, so I'll have a review for that next week. Masters of the Universe, Scary Movie, and Power Ballad with Nick Jonas and Paul Rudd. Getting some pretty good early reviews and buzz. It's kind of like a comedy, I think, but it's kind of more serious. A dramedy, maybe. But it looks really good. I'm interested in that one. So that's your new releases and what I've watched lately.
Okay, well now I'm going to give us 10 minutes. We got to keep
10
this in
minutes.
Under an
Oh
hour.
God, I got a lot to say.
My insanity can be saved in editing this. Is Star Wars? Here's our question. If you don't know, someone asked a question. We've been asking ourselves questions the last 3 episodes. We would love to answer one of your questions. So chuck it in the comments, and we'll answer it. But the question is, proposed by Pro, is Star Wars a dying IP? And then he mentions here Mandalorian had the Mando opening. Wow, words. Mandalorian Grogu had the lowest opening since Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, in 2002.
Even finished lower than Solo, which was surprising because Solo was like a low bar.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. So is Star Wars not a dying IP? Pro, you said you had a lot to say.
Yeah, I love Star Wars. I grew up with Star Wars. I remember my prequels came out in '99, so the first times I've seen, my family all had the VHS copies, the original versions of the video, not the re-releases. I mean, we had those too, but I saw the original cuts the first time, and then they released them every year at the theater again. So New Hope, Empire, Return of Jedi, and then I loved Episode 1, even though a lot of people didn't. I enjoyed Episode 2. I enjoyed Episode 3 a tremendous amount.
Prequels
looking back on it, was that 3
prequels for life? Yeah.
I even really enjoyed recent stuff like Episode 7 I thought was entertaining. I was really hoping they would go further. Or they had some interesting building blocks. I love Rogue One. Love Rogue One.
So good.
Great movie. One of my favorite Star Wars films. Probably my second favorite Star Wars film behind Empire.
Yeah, it's up there for me too.
Yeah. But I don't think it's dying. I think it needs some refreshing. It needs something new. It needs to get away from the Skywalkers and the Empires and the Rebels and the First Order and the New Rebel line. It needs to get away from that. And they have the perfect IP in the books with the High Republic series that came out, the High Republic series of novels, which is set thousands of years, if I'm correctly. And somebody in the comments, I wish my cousin Matt, when he watches it, he's a Star Wars aficionado. Like he knows everything about Star Wars. And Raid Mom's
Oh yeah,
husband too from the Discord. Yeah, we'll need his input. But they have that opportunity to go either go way into the future or way in the past. Give me some stories that we haven't seen. That's what I want to see. You know, I don't want to see Vader, and I don't want to see Palpatine. I mean, as much as I like Vader, and what I do think one of the things that Disney has done right has been getting Vader right. And I like Rogue One was a very good representation of Vader, and the Obi-Wan series on Disney Plus was also a really good representation of Vader. And Ahsoka, yeah. So there's some good stuff out there. Is it just culturally relevant still? I don't know. You know, is it just waiting? Is it just like a sleeping giant waiting to be unleashed?
And I'm being dead serious. I'm not saying this for dramatic effect. I literally had this realization as I was sitting here listening to you. Like you helped me understand how I felt about Star Wars. Star Wars means, yes, thank you. You are the pro. Star Wars means so much to me. My brother, hopefully he watches this, he knows. We spent hours of our life devoted to Star Wars in various formats, be that toys or watching the prequels or playing Lego Star Wars or reenacting it in our backyard with our toy lightsabers. Like Star Wars means so much to me. So much of who I am and what I do, you know, my love for movies comes from Star Wars. Anyway, I think that it hasn't been, I don't think it's a dying IP. I think it's an IP that's been killed. And here's the realization that I came to. As we were talking about The Mandalorian Grogu, you know, originally I was just saying like, oh, it's because they're not really doing anything good anymore. Like they're just kind of churning out content. And then I thought, well, what about the Maul series that I have heard absolutely incredible things about? What about Andor that I've heard amazing things about? And the clips I've seen of those two seasons or those two series look amazing. I don't have Disney Plus anymore, so I haven't seen them, but like those sound amazing and are getting great praise. And I love the animation of Maul. And so I started to think about the things I thought, you know what, that's exactly why I don't watch them anymore. And I think a lot of people maybe feel like me, and I don't want to assign, you know, I don't want to tell people what they feel, but I came to this realization right now that I chose at some point to just check out of Star Wars because it was too much work. I love Star Wars so much that I either had to watch everything and I couldn't do that. So it's easier to love it not at all, if that makes sense.
People are doing that with Marvel too.
Yeah. Exactly and it's not because I dislike it. Like I'm sure if I sat down and watched Andor and Maul, I would be enamored with both of those things. I would go on and on about how they're greatest piece of media forever. You know, like I'm sure I would love them as much as I love Rogue One. But the thing is, I just have chosen to not be connected to the IP anymore because it's easier than being connected to it.
You're right.
And so it's not even that, like, when I think about The Mandalorian Grogu, it's like, man, do I really want to go see that? It's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I want to carry the burden of caring about this IP anymore. It's too much. And I think
the best movies are ones that stand on their own, right? Like Rogue One is a good movie because it stands on its own. Like if you went and know nothing about Star Wars, I would feel like you would say that's a good movie.
And here's actually, maybe this is a hot take. I know that Star Trek is culturally relevant, and we're going to start a feud in the comments. But let's just sincerely, if you wanted to compare the cultural relevance and cultural impact of Star Wars versus Star Trek, Star Wars definitely is the winner here.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
My reason for that is a few different things, but one of them is that Star Wars was easier to love. Star Wars was easier to be a fan of.
It was more general audience friendly. Yeah.
Well, not just that, but it was one movie every few years. Star Trek was multiple movies and multiple sequels and a TV series and spin-offs and that's great. It worked for Star Trek. I think that they're doing fine. But if like that is a good example of like even an IP like Star Trek that, had more content, and that content was taken care of carefully, still just made people less engaged in it because it was more demanding to be engaged in. Where Star Wars, you could love, and you could love it wholeheartedly, and it wasn't taxing on your life. Now it is. And I think that a lot of people have just like given up. And maybe some people, and people are going to find themselves in the extremes of this, but I like me, it's like this genuinely a weird thing. Like, one of my friends, I hadn't seen him in a long time, and I saw him a few days ago at the gym, and he's like, "Oh man, have you watched Maul?" Like, first thing he asked me about was my love for Star Wars and if I had watched Maul. And it was like a weird realization to come to, like, oh man, like I've just chosen not to engage in something that I love, and it's kind of a bummer. But I was like pushed out because it was just too much. Anyway, I'm talking too much, but I think that like Star Wars more than ever, I just think Disney hurt a lot of fans of that IP by giving them.
I
too
think
much.
oversaturation is a very big thing to talk about. I mean, we talked about the IMAX. I know I don't want to dox where you live. I live in the Midwest. I love In-N-Out burgers. Every time I go to California, I gotta get an In-N-Out burger. I love In-N-Out. Probably my favorite fast food burger.
Yeah.
If it went nationally, I don't think it would be as good. And I don't think I would enjoy it. Where I grew up, there is an A&W. You're familiar with A&W food?
Yeah.
Everyone knows the root beer you can get at your local grocer, whatever. But there's food stands, and not only food stands, but this is one of those old school drive-in types with the car hops. They come out to your car, they put your tray on the window, you have a cold root beer, burger, fries, you're cool. It was only open from like April to October, and then the old owners would vacation to Florida. They were we call them snowbirds up here in Ohio because they're fleeing the winter and they're going down to Florida. Somebody bought it recently, and now they're open all year round. And now I don't find myself going as often. Because I moved away. I moved in like an hour away. But when I'm back home, I don't go for it because there used to be a thing because, like, oh my gosh, I miss having an A&W burger because it's something that you couldn't have for 6 weeks, 4 months out of the year. IMAX is part of the experience of IMAX is because it's so scarce. I was willing to drive 4 hours to go see 70 millimeter IMAX projection for Odyssey. And the only reason I'm not is because it's sold out. Like, if I could get tickets and my brother and I would go, I would do that in a heartbeat. Marvel is going through this too. Disney's really shooting themselves in the foot with these big IPs that were trying to sell subscriptions. And we have talked about it before where I don't know how you feel. I feel like they're never going to make their money back on Disney Plus ever. And Microsoft, Xbox, going to video games, which is one of my passions. Microsoft is figuring this out where, hey, maybe we shouldn't put our Call of Duty 2020 whatever release on for free on Game Pass, because we can charge you $70 or we can charge you $20 a month, right? And you play it for 2 months, you're done. You get, maybe you're not canceling Game Pass, but you pay that $70. There you go. They got you for more money, right? So they're realizing this, and now they're not putting their Game Pass on, or they're not putting Call of Duty or Game Pass anymore. So like scarcity drives, it's like the FOMO, right? Mm-hmm. FOMO. And now we're talking about homework for movies, which is supposed to be fun. And now you're talking about homework, and I don't care. I'm not single. I have a fiance, but I have no kids. I got just 2 dogs, right? My time, I have a lot more time to invest. And honestly, if I'm gonna be honest with you, I have not disposable income, but I have more entertainment dollars because I don't have kids, and my dogs are a lot cheaper than a kid, right? And I can go to the movies more often, right? Yeah. Than the average person. I know I'm not the average person. I know I'm a pro.
You are.
I realize that, and people don't want to go if it's going to be work, like you said. So do I think it's dying or dead? I don't think so. I just think it's waiting for the right project to come around and reignite. Mandalorian hasn't been out in how many years on Disney Plus and still made 80 million first weekend.
Yeah.
That used to be a really good number back in the day. You know, it used to be like, I was looking back, I think episode 2 in 2002 was like $60 million, which was really good. Like everyone was talking about it. Oh my gosh, this is really good. You know, it's not so much anymore because we have these $100 million opening weekends that we used to have. But for 80 million in this current climate, I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah.
It's not great, and the fall off was bad, but I think it's just on, what's the wavelength, the heart form, not flat line. It's not a, it's like just like,
yeah,
yeah. I don't know.
I'm
curious
what Disney
what you wrap up
needs
with.
to do is not release Star Wars on Disney Plus.
And they tried to do that for a while.
Why was Episode 7 so successful? Because people have been waiting a long time for
pent up demand for a sequel. Yeah,
exactly. Put Star Wars on hold. Give it some breathing room. Then go and find.
God knows Disney's not making enough money to support that.
Like
for their other
people
IPs.
are still gonna people are still gonna buy toys. You can go make video games. Like keep it in the culture in some other ways. Earn your money in other avenues. Then find a good story with a good team of people to tell the story and release a movie in like 5 years after releasing nothing else. I'm telling you, you will have much more success with that movie than you are with anything else you're doing. So, anyway, if you're listening to me, Disney, I've just solved your problem.
They should hire us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We have a good team, surprisingly, on my cousin, Raid Mom's husband. Like,
yeah. We know
we put together
Disney. About.
We can put together Star Wars,
Yeah. We'll do it. So
lightsabers and Force. That's all you need.
Easy. We've solved it.
Lightsabers, Force, money, profit.
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, I mean, like, is it? Yeah, I agree with you. Like, I don't think it's gonna die. It's too big to die, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
but I think that they're relying on that a little bit too much instead of like being really strategic with it.
We need to get our billions of dollars that we invested back.
Yeah. So anyway, close us out, Pro, with our Godfather fact.
Yeah. I got one other thing too. So I got the Godfather fact, and then I have my little soapbox, my sign off we talked about before. I'll sign it off. I'll sign this off. So in the movie, and this was totally unscripted, one of the most memorable and unexpected moments in The Godfather's making was the iconic stray cat scene. In the opening wedding sequence, Don Vito Corleone is seen gently stroking a cat. This was not in the original script. Director Francis Ford Coppola found a stray wandering around the Paramount Studios lot and spontaneously placed it on Brando's lap just before the filming began.
Wow.
And that's your Godfather fact for the day. For this episode, while I have your attention, and I'll kick it back to Harry to sign us off, I'm a big believer in physical media. It's one of my passionate things. Support your local businesses that sell you physical media of any kind, Blu-rays, vinyl, games, CDs, books, whatever it is. Buy physical. Be a pro. Buy physical.
And while you're at it, go donate blood. Just, do a bunch of good things. Because
only after you bought the physical media. Priorities. Yeah. I'm joking.
I mean, I'll second what the Pro said. Two of the things I'm like strangely really passionate about in the world is physical media and donating blood. So go do both of those things. And then if you haven't yet, subscribe to two real good friends. I don't even know the name of what the heck we're talking about. Two real good friends. Yeah. Subscribe for more of this, whatever it is. But it's fun.
We're getting our socials up. You'll be able to find us soon.
Yeah. Thanks for being here. See you later.